I really thank her for helping me get on the right track and starting a new life.
Dandan wears sunglasses and a hat to hide her identity. 4 years ago, she was imprisoned in a women's prison in Jinan, mainland China, for operating a phone scam. While in prison, she was forced into prolonged hard labor, and her family didn't want to have anything to do with her. At this most bitter time in her life, she met Falun Gong practitioner Chu Xiaotong, a fellow inmate who is imprisoned for her beliefs.
At that time, she walked over and said to me, "Is one kettle of water enough for you to wash? In Taiwan, you can't have experienced such bitter cold. The temperature was below freezing and each prisoner was only given 1 kettle of hot water per day. That day, she brought over her kettle of hot water and gave it to me to wash with."
Falun Gong, also known as Falun Dafa, is a traditional Chinese meditation practice based on the principles of truth, compassion, and tolerance. Since 1999, thousands of Falun Gong practitioners have been imprisoned and forced into hard labor. While in prison, Chu was kind towards the Taiwanese prisoner. She helped Dandan to overcome the daily problems of life in prison and lived up to Falun Gong's principle of compassion. Chu gave Dandan this booklet as a birthday gift. Dandan says Chu was an intellectual who had worked as a civil servant. Chu told Dandan that she and her fiancé were planning to get married. For the Chinese regime's policy of persecution of Falun Gong, she was sentenced to 8 years in jail without her family's knowledge.
Once, other inmates kicked Chu all the way down the stairs, down 5 floors. In the winter, Chu's nose was always red. I'd say to her, "Have you been sneakily drinking some alcohol? Why is it red like this?" Only after I'd known her for a long time did she tell me that she went on a hunger strike and was force-fed through a tube forced up her nose. The redness was because of prolonged force feeding. As soon as it was winter, her skin went red.
Dandan says the prison made violent criminals and drug offenders monitor Falun Gong practitioners. One drug offender, in order to shorten her sentence, killed a Falun Gong practitioner through force feeding, and the body was quickly cremated. Despite the harsh treatment from some prison officers and inmates, there were also prison officers with conscience.
There was once a prison officer who held Chu and cried, "I can't bear to see you Falun Gong people like this, being oppressed like this every day, and I can't do anything to help you." Think about it. If even a Communist Party member can say something like this about Falun Gong practitioners' plight, then what are the practitioners themselves feeling? For people like me, we're in prison because we committed crimes. It's correct that we are punished since we did commit crimes. But for the Falun Gong practitioners, they definitely didn't commit any crimes, and what's more, they're such a sincere and beautiful group of people.
Dandan says the prison tried to stop her from seeing Chu too often and warned her not to have any contact with Falun Gong practitioners. In September 2012, Dandan was released and returned to Taiwan. The first thing she wanted to do was search for Chu, who should already have been released.
Someone who has been so kind to me, how could she end up like this? I've heard absolutely no news about her whereabouts. Once Falun Gong practitioners are released, they are taken by the secret organization, the 610 office, and not seen again. Have you heard about this? This is a situation. I also don't know much, and I fear for her.
After her release, Dandan read news articles about the Chinese regime performing forced organ harvesting on living Falun Gong practitioners. This worried her. She made phone calls to mainland China and used online media to search for her Falun Gong prison mate, Chu Xiaotong. Dandan also went to ask for help from Falun Gong practitioners in Taiwan. She says she will stand up for what's right and find the person that she's most thankful to in her life.